as we are looking a lot of experts in our interview series, and today we have one of the eminent personality again. And as we all hearing a lot of opinions about this financial standard, financial stability, and financial strength from different end. Today we are having an expert who's a chartered accountant, who's by himself an expert in economics, and the number of posts that he makes on FB actually excited me to interview him today. And I think many entrepreneurs like me, many MSMEs who wanted to know about how the cost works in our company, how our GST systems are there, what are the financial systems that you need to work on. So today we have Amrit, a chartered accountant, on board, and he will be sharing us what exactly this laws, cost accounts, and how our economic system works and everything. Can we have Amrit, please? Amrit, you can join.
Hi,
Amrit, how are
Leonard.
you?
I'm good. How are you, Leonard?
I'm good. How is COVID-19 for you, and how is COVID-19 after effects of COVID-19? Yeah, like.
In my profession, as well as a lot of businesses, the sales, as we all know, almost 70-80% of the sales is down, and a lot of them don't have business. So, because a lot of things have been postponed, because funds are needed for doing a lot of things. So, it's going good. On the other side, learning a lot of things.
Nice to know that. And I would like you to tell about your experience and some of your expertise in accounts and the path that you have now in your past so far. You can share it with your audience.
Okay. See, I completed my CA almost 8 years back. So
okay.
After that, I joined the corporate World Bank. So in World Bank, I was there for 3 years.
Okay.
And post that, I started my own practice with my good friend of mine. So it's been almost 6 years I'm into a CA practice.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, everybody has got this doubt generally, right? How our economic system works. What is basically economy? If a layman wanted to understand about economic and economic system, how do you educate them?
Okay. See, to understand the economy, it's see, I'm not an economics person. I'm a chartered accountant, but since we are dealing with a lot of corporates and MSMEs and a lot of people, we need to know. We need to understand how the economy works, because the how the economy works, it also affects each and everyone, be it a salaried or be it an entrepreneur. So if we know the dynamics of how the economy works, so it may affect our business, it may not affect our business. So we need to be cautious about how it works. So it's all about, economy is all about demand and supply. Okay. So there is demand on one side. Basically, someone needs some product. There is someone who is manufacturing it, okay, or selling it. Okay. So based on this, the money, actually, the cash flow trickles down till the common man. So there's someone manufacturing. After the manufacturer, they may use the distributors, they may use the wholesalers, retailers. There's a whole lot of supply chain, basically. Okay. So if say example, you manufacture a product for 100, till it reaches the common man, it becomes 250. So it's all because of the supply chain which it has crossed. So it's basically someone who is supplying, and the common man is basically purchasing it. So only when there is demand and supply, there is money flow in the economy, and our economy grows, actually.
Okay.
So if you see our Indian economy, it is based on the 7th position as of now. In terms of GDP, it is on the 7th position. I'll be just going through what exactly GDP is, because you need to know, if you want to know economics, you also need to know how the GDP is arrived and how it works, basically, in a simple terms.
Yeah. People have this confusion with this GDP, right? Every day, how this GDP exactly calculated in our country. Even now, everyone, as a common man, they have a doubt on this.
Okay. Yeah. See, GDP is basically gross domestic product. Okay. So if you know what GDP is, it's basically an indicator to understand and measure the economy. Okay. How much is the total output which the Indian economy produces? Okay. So GDP is basically the total value of everything produced in a country. Okay, be it product plus services. So
Okay.
it is the total value of whatever is produced in the country, both products and services. That the total is basically GDP.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, it actually doesn't matter if it is produced by citizens of India, or there are a lot of foreign companies which have factories and companies here, so they have a subsidiary set up here. So it is a total of everything. Basically, it's not that foreign companies which manufacture here, even their production is also taken into count for GDP of India. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so it's basically if they are located within the country's boundary,
Okay.
their production and services is actually included in GDP.
Okay.
So if it is produced, there is always a public who consumes it.
Okay. Okay.
So if you see the GDP, it actually means that so much of expenditure is done by the public to actually buy all those products. Because if someone is producing I mean, you will buy that, right? So the total value of consumption is basically GDP, nothing else.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So, and also for the government to run the economy and provide all the benefits, all the infrastructure, the roads we see, the bridges we see, and a lot of other things, what the government actually does, they also need money to actually run the government. So what they do is they collect something called direct tax. That is basically the income tax what we all pay. So that is the direct tax.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. And there's something called indirect tax. That is by way of GST, the government collects from all of the entrepreneurs and business owners.
Okay. Okay.
And there are various other statutory payments which the government collects. So the government collects money through direct tax and indirect tax, and that is being spent as per the budget which the country comes up.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, now if you ask me what exactly is the components of the GDP, if you ask me the breakup of GDP,
okay,
it includes the personal expenditure by the public, plus the business investment done by every single organization, be it an MSME, be it a corporate. So all those business investment which has gone into, that is also a component of GDP. The government spending, basically the budget which the government has, that is also being spent. So that is also counted in the GDP.
Okay.
And finally, the exports minus import, what India does. So all this component, the personal, the business investment, all this government spend, and all this export minus import, this is the total breakup of GDP actually.
Okay. Okay.
So if you see India's GDP, it is actually $2.8 trillion. If you put in INR terms or rupees term, it is 190 lakh crores. So India's total output, if you ask me GDP, it is 190 lakh crores. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So in terms of overall, almost 230 plus countries are there. Out of that, in terms of GDP, India is on 7th.
Oh, great.
So our GDP is 190 lakh crores. And if you ask me who is the first, who has the maximum GDP, gross domestic product, or basically the total output, US is on top actually.
Okay.
And their GDP is $20.4 trillion, which is actually 1,430 lakh crores.
Okay.
So India is 190 lakh crores. US is 1,430 lakh crores, 1,430 lakh crores.
Okay. Okay.
And on number 2 is China with $13.4 trillion, and in INR terms, it is 938 lakh crores, their GDP, China.
Okay.
So it is on.
There is a GDP status which I have shared. Number 1 is US, number 2 is China, number 7 is India.
Yeah.
COVID-19, will there be any changes in the GDP rankings, or will it be the same after like 2 months or 6 months?
See, the tables are definitely going to change. I mean, currently it's already changed. If you see, US has been badly hit, UK has been badly hit, China, there is also an impact. So almost, if you see, all the countries, the impact is there, even including India. So definitely the tables are going to change. If you ask me, according to me, US, China definitely will be on top. There is always a chance where we are on the 7th place now in terms of GDP. We may definitely maybe come on third or fourth position in terms of GDP.
Okay.
Reason being, our population is maximum youth population is there,
Okay.
and the income earning group, if you see the middle, there are a lot of middle class people and who are earning good. So in terms of setting up infrastructure and the government measures which are coming up, definitely I feel we will be going above the table. As of now, if you see, most of the countries GDP has become negative, if you see
Okay.
right now. So all were in positive before COVID, but after COVID, if you see, most of the countries GDP has become negative. So there are a lot of prediction which is being done by World Bank, IMF, and a lot of people. What they say is India, I mean, the possibility of coming in the third or second position, because US is badly hit. So it may take time for each of the country to actually come up and get and running.
Okay, Amrit, there is a lot of exceptions given for from the bank to a normal customer, stating that first 3 months after this COVID-19 effect, they will not collect the EMI or ECS which were supposed to be collected on time. Will you think it will be extended for another 3 months based on the situation? Nothing has been opened, or people have not come to their regular life. What will happen to this EMI ECS in the next 3 months? I mean, after June.
Yeah, I feel again there will be an extension because even now the things have not stabilized. So in March they came up with this 3 month extension. But seeing at the situation, I think maybe they may extend for 1 month, for 1 month or 2 months. They may extend. It's a 50-50 chances, because as of now, almost few relaxations have been given, and few industries they have already started doing business. So if you see, last 1 week I've been seeing a lot of all the standalone shops they have started opening. All those who are into non-essentials also taking licenses. They have slowly started working on. So I feel still things have not stabilized fully, definitely, and it's still we are at risk if you see in our state. So the moratorium, they may increase maybe 1 month or 2 months, according to me.
Okay. See, there is an exception given in the moratorium for the first 3 months, right? And they are trying to extend it for 6 or maybe 3 or 6 months, based on of your suggestion. Whatever I also heard from the different news channels and all that. The banks are trying to improve the interest of whatever they were collecting before. Is that right from a bank? And will that not affect the consumer? The loan interest is going high and high. The more moratorium that bank is giving, will that be not affected to us?
It is our choice to go whether to go for a loan or not. If you see, almost 80% of the entrepreneurs, they actually go for loan. Okay.
Yeah.
Reason being, they get a loan at a rate of say 12%, 13%, and they are able to put in their business and able to earn 15%, 20%. So for people who are running on a very low profit or thin margins, definitely for them they may definitely have an impact because of this loan and this moratorium and interest rate. Because if you have not paid for 3 months, again you have to start paying from the 4th month, and you have to, in fact, people have to start working double, in fact, to pay all this interest.
Okay. What do you think about this GST? There are still people who are not aware about this GST, whatever the government terminology or the terms which has been used in GST. Could you please share some detail, or a common man can understand about GST?
Okay. See, if you see, before GST, GST was launched in July 2017. If you see, before GST, there were various taxes in different forms, like excise duty was there if you're manufacturing, sales tax was there if you're actually selling goods, and there were a lot of other statutory taxes. So post GST, what they have done is they have brought all the various taxes into one bracket, and they said single nation, single tax. So basically, they have brought all the taxes together, and they say I will collect only GST. Okay. If you ask me, GST, it's basically, as the name says, goods and service tax.
Okay.
So if you are selling goods, if you are doing service, providing service, you have to pay tax on that. So that is basically GST in simple terms.
Okay.
Okay. So what the GST says is, whenever you're doing a sale, you have to collect the taxes from the customer and pay to the government.
Okay.
Okay. And as a company, you will also be purchasing lot of items in order to do the sale.
Okay.
So whatever taxes you pay when you purchase your goods and whatever taxes you collect when you sell, what the government says is, you set off both these taxes and pay me whatever is the balance tax. So basically, if you see, GST is a tax on the profits.
Okay.
That is what is GST all about. And if you see GST, it actually impacts every business. There are various items where all this daily consumption items like milk, bread, and vegetables. So government has said that I will not be collecting GST on these items, because these are all daily consumed and largely consumed by a lot of people. So on products like milk, bread, and vegetables, which are commonly consumed, I will not tax anything. So
Okay.
so government, what they have come up is, they have started taxing all other products like the GST tax rate. If you see, there are almost four types, like 5% GST is there, 12% GST is there, 18% is there, and on the luxury goods 28% GST is levied actually.
Okay. Okay.
And if you see a lot of common public, they actually find GST to be high. If you say, for example, if you ask 18% GST to be paid on a product of say 50 rupees, 100 rupees, which is commonly consumed, so
Okay.
the consumers are finding it difficult. So what government has brought in is a scheme called composition scheme.
Okay.
So this is basically for a lot of all the street vendors and small vendors who are doing a sales of say 1 crore, 1.5 crores.
Okay.
So if you see all the small vendors, they will not be able to maintain all the accounts and books of records as the law requires. So the government, what they've come up is, they've come up with a scheme called composition scheme. So what in the scheme government says is, you don't collect any GST from customers.
Okay.
You pay 1% from your pocket on the total sales as a GST. That's all.
So the GST will be applicable for the vendors, not for the consumers.
So see, in the composition scheme, if you see, it should not be collected from the customers.
Okay. Okay.
So what government says is, if you are opting for this composition scheme, and if your product, say for example, is 18% GST, what the government says is, you need not require to collect this 18% from the customer. What you do is, instead, on the total sales you have done for the month, just pay me 1% of the GST from your pocket. That's it.
Okay. It is applicable for, can I mention some of the products here?
See, it is applicable for any product you sell.
Okay. Okay.
So the product may be 5%, 12%, 18%, 28%. So if you opt for composition scheme, what they say is, you just pay 1% GST. That's all.
That is something different. Okay. The GST impact. Okay. There are a lot of refunds to be refunded by the government for the last year, right? Which was not done because the accounts have not been completed. We haven't filed our income tax for this particular year, 2020, 2019 and 2020. The refund will happen over a period of time, or will it be extended again? Because a lot of funds have been circulated and they are also trying to get it from outside. Refund will happen or not for the GST which we have done for the last year?
See, in terms of income tax, if your income tax refund is less than 5 lakhs, the government, almost 60-70% of the people, they've already issued the income tax refund, which pertain to last year. So if you ask me with respect to GST, is there any refund? Actually, only in terms of export, the companies who are doing export, only in those cases the GST refund is being given. Not for a normal business. If you have an excess input tax credit, and you cannot claim that as a refund actually, in terms of GST.
Okay. Amrit, what do you think about the strategies planning many business have planned for 2020 in terms of financial returns, business returns, which is not going to happen actually, because we already know 3 months are badly affected, and we for sure know next 3 months will be difficult for any business person. How do we plan and how do we sketch out our business plan for this year in terms of financial aspect? And how can we change it for 2021? Is there any idea from your end to be suggested?
Okay. See, one good part of COVID, what I felt was each and every individual actually have started thinking and has realized the importance of savings and investment actually because of this.
Yeah, very true, very true.
Yeah, because if you see, there are a lot of people where they have dedicatedly planned and saved a lot of money for so many years actually. So if you see for them, they have money in either a fixed deposit or some liquid investments are there, say in mutual funds. So
Okay.
for them, if you see, they are kind of relaxed because they have savings where they can manage the next 3 months, 6 months, even if the situation continues. But
Okay.
but 90%, 95% of the people, they always want to save, but some situation they are not able to save, or most of them goes off in EMI because now if you
Right.
see, the loan and the interest rates have become very lucrative. For housing loan, it's just 8.3%. So
Correct.
what a lot of people think is, on one side for saving taxes they actually start investing, on other side they also have a property and easy access of loan is also there, so why not I pay EMI and take a loan. But the problem is all are paying for next 15 years, 20 years the EMIs alone.
Yeah, correct.
So most of it goes in loans, so they are not able to save. That is a practical difficulty. But on an ideal situation, what they say is 30% of your income definitely you have to save, no matter what you take a loan or EMI.
So
So
what do you suggest for the youngsters? Is it good to go for EMI or it is not good at all to take any EMI at all in your life?
what I would say is, if you are able to save 20% or 30%, and still you have money, you can go for EMI. That's not an issue. It all depends on the salary what you get and the expenditure what you make. But if you see a lot of people, they do the expenditure beyond what they are earning actually.
That is there. That's
Yeah,
there in most of our common life today.
yeah, so you have to plan your expenditure because there are a lot of expenditure which happens maybe in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the line. You may have a kid, you may have your kids school fees or education fees, college fees, or marriage plans. There are a lot of events in a person's life. So
Correct.
if you are able to plan all this and you know how much will require, keeping in mind the inflation, and start investing accordingly, I think that is the right way of structuring all your things. Maybe 3 months, 6 months down the line, people will start having, maybe things will stabilize, so you can start focusing on saving and investment at least for 30 to 40% of what you earn.
Okay. Okay. So your financial strategy for 2021, is there anything that I need to work on as a common business person? What one person should think about 2021?
Okay. See, as of now, if you see for entrepreneurs, first step is to survive and get up and get running. So everyone is on a survival mode. Okay,
Yeah.
with making profits, actually, it has not come into people's mind, because first they need to survive. Only then, when things stabilize, you can actually make profits.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
So now, if you see, cash is king always,
Okay.
and they say data is queen.
Okay.
Okay, so money coming in now is 1,000 times better than money coming in tomorrow. So cash flow definitely is very, very important than profits, because
Okay.
because you may be doing a lot of sales, but in the end, if you don't get money or your money is stuck in your customers, and then it is very difficult.
Okay.
Okay, so now right now what is important is sales is very, very important. So you need to do something, build in strategies where you can actually bring in sales and bring in the money inside your business.
So you are suggesting that not to think about profit, run the business for this particular year, and stability is important, post which you can think about profit.
See, I'm not saying have zero profits. What I'm saying is, if you are normally selling it for say 15%, 20% margin, don't think of cutting down 5 to 10% of your margin. It's not an
Okay.
issue, but
Okay.
because you should not lose even a single sale.
Okay.
So keeping in mind the profit, you may have a reduced profit, because if you see post-COVID or right now itself, the competition is going to be heavy. So people will be competing on price. So if you don't lower the price or compete along with the price, it becomes
Okay.
very difficult to bring in the sales, and cash flow will not be there.
Yeah, correct.
So the situation, if you ask me how do you manage now, it's like it's as good as 2020 game. It is very fast. You have to act very fast, take all the decisions very fast. So every ball is important, and you have very less time, but you have to score more. So, and you have to also keep in mind the safety and speed. You have to think of all these and then do.
Okay. See, as a vendor, I open my market, okay, but I need the customers to buy my product, whatever I'm selling, right? They should have the money power. In this lockdown, as there is a lot of pay cuts, job cuts in different areas and different places, people won't be able to buy. Unless until they buy from me, how a vendor can make margin or a profit? Even it is a minimum margin, how it is possible for a vendor to make it if the consumers are not getting money from their end?
Okay, right question, Lenin. If you see, normally, as of now, if you see, the sales is very low, because if someone comes and buys, there is a cash flow. But now there are no takers at all. Okay.
Okay.
So this is a time where you can actually invest in all your marketing or branding yourself, or strategizing on various revenue streams. See, if you see, a lot of them are not on e-commerce at all. Okay.
Correct.
But now it's a time where even if you are not doing an online sale, you have to actually get into online or start a e-commerce and start selling things online, because that is one revenue stream where you can bring in money. So as an entrepreneur, you have to start building your multiple revenue streams where you can actually bring in money. It's not just your retail outlet. So you may have a retail outlet. You should also have an e-commerce. Maybe you have a catalog and start selling. So right now, if you see, marketing and branding, positioning yourself is definitely important. And whatever said and done, the product and service should be great first. Only then the marketing and branding will work. So I would say you should definitely do marketing and branding and position yourself such that you give the confidence in customers and get orders, maybe post COVID, or when things starts running. Maybe you get orders already in hand, or do some activities.
Okay, I get your point. So you are asking us to work on the marketing and branding so that you will be able to make margin of whatever you are thinking. At least if you are thinking about 10%, you'll be able to make 5% or 3% and start getting into a different platforms to sell your product.
Yes.
I think that's something different from a normal economist or a chartered accountant that I get from. So what do you suggest for this MSMEs? There are a lot of small scale industries who are struggling to come up. Even if, in fact, I go and take a loan today, it's going to cost me so much for the next year. I'm going to again pay so much interest. How will I manage my small business now? How do I run the business now without getting a loan or any other way that I can try out?
Okay. See, the financial position as of now for an entrepreneur, it's basically the decisions which have been taken in the past. Okay.
Okay.
So if you would have taken right decisions with respect to finance, right now maybe the position maybe on a normal stage. But if the financial decisions what we have taken did not go right, definitely we are facing a situation of crunch. Now we are not able to pay the salaries. We are not able to pay the EMIs. If you see, there are only two options. One, you have to build in strategies and bring in sales. So that's how money comes in. Or second is see, in order to bring in sales, there are a lot of manufacturing companies where they need to actually service their machinery. There are a lot of migrant people sitting at various places. When they come in, you need to pay them advance, only then they'll start working. So there are various expenditure even to start a business now and start running.
Okay.
So if you don't have sales, definitely there is no other option, but you have to go in for a loan. See, that's why MSME, the 20 lakh packages which we have all been hearing. If you see, the scheme is really good. On one side, where what support they are providing to MSME is 3 lakh crore package has been announced with respect to MSME, where what they say is, if you are an existing borrower from the bank, okay, what they're telling is on as on 29th February, whatever is your outstanding balance,
okay,
on that 20% is given as additional loan without any collateral, and next 12 months you need not pay any principal. That is 12 months moratorium has been given for this additional loan which you're going to take. This additional loan scheme has been brought for basically people to get up and running, to open their factory, to pay all the salary, buy raw materials. So 20% of whatever is the outstanding balance of the existing loan as on 29th February 2020, the scheme is all about that. So people who are existing having a loan, they can avail this. So if you ask me, people who have not taken loan, what will they do? Okay. So if you are an MSME, you can approach the banker. Okay. There are other scheme. There's some scheme called CGT MSE. So it's basically a credit guarantee fund trust for MSME. So so this scheme is basically they sanction up to 1 crore to 2 crores collateral free loan. Okay. So so if you have not availed the loan at all, you can actually apply to go to any government bank, apply for this scheme called CGT MSE, where up to 1 crore to 2 crores loan is being given. This is based on your last 3 years financial statements. So if your financial statements are healthy and you've not taken loan at all, and you don't have any collateral to give to take loan, actually you can actually use this scheme called CGT MSE, where up to 1 crore to 2 crores loan is given without collateral. So maybe to start and running, if you need 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs, you can actually go for a loan. So that's what I've been saying. Only two things. One, if you don't want to go for loan, build the sales strategies and try to bring in money. Do sales. That's it. You may do online sales and get money. If you're not able to do online sales, maybe you can start taking the orders right now if people like your product, and you can actually maybe give some discount and get advance money. There are various other ways where you can get money.
Morning, I just read a status that the government is trying to find out the registered organized hotel sectors and some of the unregistered and unorganized hotel sectors, which is the unorganized hotel sector is almost more than 1 crore. The revenue of these people would have not been calculated. That's called unregistered unorganized hotel restaurant, right? And how these people will come up and start getting into the business, they don't have a proper account. That's why they are called unorganized hotel sectors. They would have not paid their GST. They would have not paid their taxes. They will not be able to get loans also. How will they be able to get back to the business and start regenerating their funds? Is there any ways that they can try it out?
See, there are two things. One is in the relief package itself, government has come up with a scheme for street vendors, basically. So in the scheme, if you see what they are planning to do is 10,000 rupees per street vendor they are planning to issue with respect to linking with the Aadhaar and things. But on the other side, when this will come, we don't know. But because people need money now, so money coming in 3 months, 4 months after that, it's not useful actually. And the second option is basically there's something called Mudra loan. So in this Mudra loan, up to 10 lakhs without collateral for all the small vendors, street vendors. They say they want 1 lakh, 2 lakhs. This Mudra scheme can be used and they can actually avail this money.
Now there is another important question. There is a lot of funds being released, or the government is making a lot of announcement on getting the funds and reaching to the end customers, like normal human being or a vendor. How these funds are divided? Basically, on what basis these funds are divided, and it is being reached to the public or companies?
Okay. See, these funds are divided based on the needs and which sector needs to survive this. See, if you see, there are a lot of schemes for MSME. Reason being, MSME is the major contributor in terms of GDP. Okay. So if you see, there are 4 to 5 schemes coined especially for MSME. Okay. And there are various schemes which they have bought in for farmers and poor people. Okay. A lot of subsidies that everything has been announced in the package. But the only worry which everyone has is we have seen that only when it comes to implementation, we are actually weak. in terms of
Okay.
getting the money reaching it to the last mile of people. That is where the implementation we miss out. Because if you see the package, there are various schemes which are brilliant actually. But when it comes to implementation, it becomes little. We are not getting on time. A lot of them are even waiting for things to come, but it's not coming. So it is all routed through banks. So
Okay.
if you see shortly, maybe in a week or 2 weeks time, the bank will come up with the guidelines and rules as to how this money is actually going to be disbursed.
Okay.
So various authorities like all this MSME, it will be routed through banks. For all
Okay.
other through farmers and all this rationing and all, it is again all this. It will be given to the authority. Will be given to all the states, and state will give authority to all the districts. And through the district and the government, all these funds and all will be reaching the end people. But when will it reach? It actually we need to wait and watch.
Okay. But you mean to say all the bodies are active and the funds will be started generating, the people has to correctly reach the money to the proper people or proper sector, whoever needs it.
Okay. See, this question a lot of them have as to various schemes are coming. Who is taking this scheme? Who is not taking? If you see, I just spoke to my friend yesterday. What he said was he has actually availed that 10% scheme where during March after COVID, they announced, right, that 10% of the existing loan they will give additional top up.
Okay. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Great.
So before this 20% which came 2-3 days back, if you see 2 months back, when after COVID, week after 2 weeks after that, government came up with a liquidity scheme where 3.7 lakh crores will be injected into the bank, and 10% of the existing loan you can avail as top up. So that my friend has actually availed and got that disbursed also. He's using that.
Okay.
So there are people who are using the schemes. The only thing is you should have all the data ready. You should know what is the scheme, what it is all about, and approaching the banker, so the right person, you will be able to get that. So it's not that you will not get. Only thing is you should know where to go and what are the documents required. If you keep your accounts and the financials all proper, definitely you will get it.
So you mean to say funds are routed through by all these sectors and people need to go with the proper data, they will definitely get it.
Yes.
Okay. Moving away slightly from the regular economic system, what do you suggest for people who are taking this chartered accountant as their profession?
Okay. I didn't get you, Lenin. I didn't hear the question.
If at all, if I want to pursue a chartered accountant today, what would be a suggestion? Is it good to start? Is it good to go? What are the areas and importance a chartered accountant should have? And where do I need to concentrate? Where do I need to start? Your suggestion for the probably school passed outs or who are thinking about getting into chartered accountant line?
Okay. See, chartered accountancy course is one of the top professions according to me. Okay.
Okay.
If you see in terms of value and the command and the power, it is huge. You can't even imagine. Actually, it is all in one's individual's hand as to how he takes ahead the profession. See, until completing CA, that is fine. Okay. Even if you see the pass percentage is say 5 to 10% in terms of CA. So
Okay.
there are not much chartered accountants because the scoring and the amount of subjects you have in a CA course is huge. Okay.
Okay.
And the beauty is you need to get trained under a chartered accountant who is already practicing for 3 years.
Okay.
And then complete all your exams and then pass out CA.
Okay.
If you pass out CA, in terms of there are two set of people. 90 to 95% they actually go and join a corporate.
Okay.
And there are a few who actually start their own practice.
Okay.
And there are few where they start working for 3 to 5 years and then start their own practice.
Okay.
If you ask me which is good, okay,
I was about to ask the same.
okay. See, corporate is equally good. practice is even more good because I'm into practice. So I was in corporate and then I quit and started my own practice because it was my passion where I wanted to see different industries. I wanted to handle audits and accounts of different people, how things work and how the taxation work. If you see, there are so many subjects in CA course.
Okay.
Law is there, auditing is there, taxation is there, statistics is there, max is there. Almost every key subjects costing is there. So if you see, if you take each subject, it's an ocean in itself. So if you take income
Okay,
tax,
okay.
if you take income tax, there are a lot of chartered accountants where they only specialize in income tax.
Okay.
There are a lot of chartered accountants where they only specialize in international taxation.
Okay. Okay.
You only specialize in MSME, few in auditing and tax. So it's an ocean. CA course itself is ocean, and the profession itself is ocean. It's in your hand how you do things and scale up.
Okay.
So it's the best, one of the best course I would suggest if you are into maybe 10th and you want to take up commerce. If you're taking commerce, one of the best profession is chartered accountant.
Okay. Okay. Thanks for the input. Because a lot of teenagers would be watching this live or they may have a doubt. So I just wanted to clarify that. See, now doctors are facing a lot of challenges in this COVID-19, right? Running an hospital becomes difficulty, or private hospital cannot take this COVID-19 cases. There are a lot of regulations. But apparently, there is a different set of stream people, different domain, different department. Experts are having a lot of issues now. They have a lot of challenges. Is there any specific challenge for a chartered accountant because of this COVID-19? Because the files are not made on time. You have not filed your income taxes on time. It's got postponed. Will the chartered accountant face any difficulty for the next 3 to 6 months?
200% yes.
Okay.
Okay. See, there are a lot of work where it involves you actually meeting the client, understanding seeing the papers and doing things. As a chartered accountant, we are used to meeting the client, or client coming to our place, or client coming to our staff and discussing with them. So we are used to it. So now if you see the work from home culture for small and medium CA firm, that work from home culture is not there.
Oh, okay, okay.
So even if you take me, I am not used to actually working from home. I am always outside and meeting people and discussing things. So we have started adapting to this situation. All my staffs are actually working from home for last almost 55 days. So and we have made it a plan where going forward also we will start seeing how we can work from home, where you unnecessarily need not rent too many places or have too many people. So things can be done from home also. But all this auditing works and doing a physical verification of stock or physical verification of cash, definitely we are not able to do because we are at home.
Okay, okay.
So, and there are a lot of things where you need to go to government office, say to get a FSSAI license or to get a ESI registration, PF registration, or there are a lot of income tax works or appeals where you go physically and meet people. So there are a lot of government registrations where you need to go physically. You can't do work from home.
Okay, okay.
So all those works and all are not being able to, we are not able to do now.
So the difficulty is there everywhere, be it a chartered accountant or doctor or advocate, everybody is facing the problem.
Yeah, definitely there. But what we are doing is we are also taking up all this consulting work where it becomes easy from to consult from work from home.
Okay, okay.
So that is the only thing.
Okay. Is there any difference between a small firm, people like you who are working as a consultant, having 4 to 10 or 20 employees in you, and people like very big like KPMG or EY? What is the difference between the small consultants and the big company? Of course, they take bigger projects. What are the differences there?
Okay. See, if you take a big four, KPMG, EY, Deloitte, so all are international firms.
Okay.
Okay, they have presence across the globe.
Okay.
And they've been doing business for so many years.
Okay.
Okay. So definitely every firm starts from scratch.
Okay.
And over a period of time, it is all the contacts you build and the knowledge you gain. So if you see Big Four, their level of expertise, and since they have been doing it from long time, they have professionally, they have a lot of departments where it is all individually focused.
Okay.
If you see all this Big Four, they have a department for tax, they have a department for audit, they have a department for transfer pricing, they have a department for international taxation, so legal work. So there are so many departments where so people are focused and they handle large volume of claims.
Even the big works are split into small departments, and each department will have a huge number of people to work for it. Wherein consultant will not have the same feasibility to do that.
Yes, and one of the most important thing why actually they are Big Four is all this technology and knowledge which they have. It's all real time. They keep updating. They keep building technologies and do all the works based on technology instead of believing on manual work. If you see small and medium audit firms, it's most the technology component is very less.
Okay.
So it is more of a labor intensive or people oriented jobs.
Okay.
So when you have a lot of demand but you don't have supply or quality manpower, it is difficult to provide a services to a client which they expect.
So this COVID-19 will have an equal effect for Big Four as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. See, it is not just Big Four, it is for anyone for that matter. The impact is there because there should be someone buying, only then we can do sales, correct?
Correct.
And if you see all the statutory compliances, everything has been extended to either June, all this ROC and all extended till September. If you see the income tax filing is extended till November and October for all this. So the thing is, even clients are not in a position to actually give data now. So they are also postponing all their giving the data maybe 2 months or 3 months later. So definitely because of that, the flow is very, very less right now.
Okay. See, now there are a lot of forums and a lot of departments are ready to offer loan for interest. They're ready to lend money to people. But as you said, they don't have a proper documents or a data about their past histories. They are not able to produce now, right? Will you suggest to the entrepreneurs or MSMEs to have a proper income tax filing from now on? Will that create a benefit for them? In previous years, you would not have done that. Is it good to at least start from now so that you will have a good accounts in 2021 and that will be a benefit for them? What is your view for the people who have not done that so far?
Okay. See, generally what I say is, whoever it is, even if you don't have income, I will always say that you have to file your returns. Even if there is zero income, it is always good to file your returns because this income tax returns is being asked in a lot of places you would require. Say, for example, going in for a bank loan, say for a visa processing, or so many government tenders or government projects. Or if you're taking up a bigger client, whoever it is, what they ask is last 3 years income tax papers.
Correct.
Okay, so generally what I suggest is income is there or not, or even if it is say 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs or less than taxable limits, it is always very, very good to file the returns because it will be useful. Maybe not now or in future, definitely it will be useful.
Okay, and is there any update in income tax filing compared to the last 3-4 years? Is there any update?
Okay, see, if you see with respect to income tax, there has been so many changes in the last 3-4 years. One of the biggest changes, lot of government income tax related works has been computerized. Okay, so there is a cell in Bangalore called CPC, Central Processing Center. Okay, so lot of this income tax processing, everything has been computerized, and if it is a plain vanilla case or a salaried returns, the system itself actually does all the calculation and does the processing. No, there is no manual intervention. Okay. So all this salaried cases and all this business cases below a threshold, it is all computerized. So it goes to a assessing officer only when there is any issue or the system has been built so robust that there are so many parameters where if there is any error, the system is very smart to actually identify that. Okay. So it is now, earlier it was all manual. Okay, so now it is all systemized, and day by day the controls are being very stringent, where it is not like before, where you can just like that file returns.
Okay, okay.
And if you see all this appeals and other departments and everything has been streamlined after the GST and other things.
Okay, you mean to say GST has made a difference and it is good for the right impactful people, and it has created some improvement in the overall revenue for the government?
Yes, because if you see in the income tax itself, it is asking what is your turnover as per GST in your income
Okay,
tax.
okay, okay.
So now it is a point where you cannot show one sales in GST and one sales in your income tax, no more.
Okay, okay.
So earlier, if you see, the sales in income tax will be different, the sales in excise records will be different, sales in sales tax will be different. So now it is like everything is consolidated, all the departments are united, and even there are some cases where you the IT can approach a bank also in case they find some issues. So all the departments are interlinked. So it's not that you show one there and on the other place you show something different. It's not like that.
Okay, okay. And what is your suggestion for the young entrepreneurs who wanted to start business? Now they will not have money, they cannot ask bank also, and they have in different end, they cannot go ask money, they cannot invest also. What would be a suggestion as a financial accountant expert?
Okay. See, with respect to young entrepreneurs, first thing what I tell is, if you have something in mind, if you want to do business, first understand why you want to do business. There should be some purpose of you getting into entrepreneurship.
Correct, correct.
Okay. So first you should be very clear with the purpose, why I want to do business. So that purpose should be very, very clear. That is the first thing. Okay.
Okay.
Second thing is, you need to definitely put all your plans and ideas into paper.
Okay, okay.
And there is something called a business model canvas, BMC.
Okay, okay.
Where it's a simple tool where it helps you define your business overall as to what you're going to do, what you're going to sell, who will be your customers, who will be your vendor, and there are so many other parameters where how you're going to add value. So if you put things on paper, it becomes real. Okay, but the problem is most of young entrepreneurs, they actually just jump into the business. They burn their fingers after 6 months or 1 year and they quit.
Correct, correct.
So if you have to basically plan and put all the financial figures in place, and you should know like when how much should I invest? If I invest so much, when will I get it back? So you have to, there's something called payback period. There is something called return on investment. There are so many financial ratios where at least the basic financial work has to be done by someone who is starting. So you need to have everything ready before you start and not after you start things.
Okay, okay. Since you spoke about this investment plans, I have 2-3 questions on that. Is it right time to invest as the stocks are badly affected now? We don't know what is happening to the company. Is it good to invest, or if at all I wanted to invest, where should I invest? Is it good that I will be getting money in 2020, having some expectation in mind? How does it work?
Okay. See, if you are asking with terms to investment, there are various options like shares or putting in a property. But if you see next 3 to 6 months, definitely I would recommend not to invest in a fixed asset, or if you are really you have been following the market. Yeah, Lennon?
Next to 3 months or 6 months, not to invest on any big thing.
No, see, next 3 to 6 months, it is advisable to have savings in a liquid like FD, a fixed deposit, or other liquid assets, and not block your money in your fixed assets or something else.
Okay.
So if you see share market, it is very volatile. 3 months, there may be a temporary drop in all the rates and all. So it's not that now the rate is very low, let me go and invest. So you have to go through a proper financial planner or a stock broker who knows things. But the thing is, as far I have seen, share investment, or people should go only when they have been following it for say 5 years, 10 years, because it is very risky to take in terms of share market. So you have to jump in only when you know things.
Correct.
or you go through a proper fund manager or a portfolio manager.
Okay.
Only then it is advisable. But if you see market right now, it is a very good time to invest. A lot of them say it is a good time to invest in property, but real estate, how it has been. It has been a very bad shape.
Correct.
So
Last 2 years.
at this point of time, if you want money also, you cannot liquidate your land. That's the problem.
Yeah, that is there.
So next 3 to 6 months, at least things stabilize. We don't know when things will stabilize. That's the problem, because it all depends on the vaccine.
Okay.
The vaccine has not yet come, so we don't know when it will come. So market may stabilize in say 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. It may take 2 years also. We don't know. So definitely it is advisable to keep in a liquid fund rather than blocking your money in a fixed or a thing where it's difficult to liquidate. Say like mutual funds, it's very easy. Like 48 hours, you can take your money back.
Correct.
But the market again, mutual fund also has a debt product, equity product. So equity is risky. Debt is relatively very low risk. So you can actually invest in mutual funds or in your bank FD, something like that. So interest will be very less, but at least your money will be safe next 3 to 6 months.
Okay. So it's good that not to invest, having a liquid cash will help for us to sustain in our lifestyle for the next 3 to 6 months.
Definitely.
Okay. What is the way forward, Amrit? There is so many things different have happened so far. What is the way forward for the economic system or for the Indian economy? How it's going to work out?
Okay. Next 6 to 1 year, as I said, the competition is going to be very huge. So if you see who are going to survive or make it to the top, is basically who have built a brand.
Okay.
So that's what I've been saying from beginning, that don't build products or services, build brands.
Okay.
So to build a brand, it is not as easy as we think. So there should be a lot of things in place, like systems and process, technology. So there are so many things where all put together actually creates a brand.
Okay.
So going forward, if you see customer experience is what is very, very important, which all will look for.
Okay.
So whoever is able to provide the best customer experience, best value addition for your money, so people will go to them.
Okay.
Okay.
What would be the... Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, Lennon, tell me, Lennon.
What would be the government plans for the next 1 year? What would have been there, or what could be there from your end?
Okay. See, there has been a lot of packages which has been announced. Okay. So all these packages will actually be released in a phased manner.
Okay.
In next 3 to 6 months or 1 year.
Okay.
So the only thing way forward we are looking for is government to implement it as soon as possible, because if you see, I was actually even more sad when I saw that almost 15 crore unemployment is there in India as of now. 15 crore people are jobless.
Correct.
So if you see, there are white collar jobs, there are blue collar jobs. There are so many people where they don't know where to go next in terms of unemployment.
Correct.
Okay. So on the other side, what as a common man we expect from government is we have been saying make in India a lot of times. Okay.
Correct.
So this make in India, if you see, there are a lot of companies where they are planning to actually start their manufacturing in India.
Correct.
And there are a lot of companies where they are not coming to India. Reason being, it takes a lot of time for all these registration formalities and setting up formality. It takes 3 months, 6 months, even 1 year to even start the production actually.
Okay.
So definitely, I think government is working on how do we actually streamline all this registration process and computerize all this registration formality, where instead of 6 months, in another say if a company comes here, a multinational company comes here, it just takes 1 month for them to start their production. It should be that fast.
Okay.
So government definitely needs to take all those measures, so that there are a lot of companies who want to come to India and actually start. So only when all these big companies come, there will be employment, the generation.
Okay. One last question, as we are trying to hit the time. How long it will take for our country to get back on a regular track? I know we will not be able to tell the exact time as the vaccine has not found it, but from your opinion, how long it will take for us to get back on track?
1 to 2 years, definitely.
Okay, to bring back of whatever we were suffered.
Definitely,
Okay.
because I'm seeing actually there are a lot of business owners where they have taken interest at 36%, 42%, and they are doing business.
Okay, okay,
Now actually they have wiped out because of this COVID.
okay,
And there are various other business owner where already there is a lot of debt, and beyond
okay,
this, because of this COVID and no sales there, because of they had to give their pay their rent, pay their EMI, they're in a bad shape, and a lot of them are out of business. So definitely, if the schemes are going well, if really the money is actually pumped into the economy, and if the banks are able to reach out and give the money and actual relief to the public as soon as possible, definitely that money will help people to buy things, and again the flow will be there in the economy. Only then things will stabilize. So we are just hoping for best. So it may take 6 months, 1 year, 2 years also according.
great, Amrit, great. I think whatever been asked, you have given a clarity. Even I got a lot of clarity how to run my own company and the business way forward. And there are a lot of suggestions and the inputs that you shared for young entrepreneurs as well. Any final wishes or suggestions that you want to tell it to the audience? You can tell. We can wind up there.
Okay, so for entrepreneurs, there's only one thing which I like to say is there is a blue ocean, there is a red ocean. Okay. Okay, red ocean is basically there are a lot of players in that economy.
Okay.
All are competing to sell the same product.
Correct.
So if you see in a red ocean, there are multiple players trying to sell the same product. So imagine how the competition will be.
Correct.
So as an entrepreneur, we should always think how can we adopt a blue ocean strategy.
Okay.
So blue ocean strategy is basically identifying what is the pain point in the market.
Okay.
Identify why are the companies not able to provide those services.
Okay. Address the problem, find out the need.
Yeah, and you start something innovative, something unique out of the box where no one has done that.
Yeah, correct, correct.
So maybe all are competing on cost. Ideally, if you see, if you people who are competing on cost, they will always be stressed out because the competition keeps on increasing, correct?
Okay, yeah, yeah, correct.
So you have to have multiple products where at least you are specialized in one thing.
Correct. You have to be monopoly on one product.
Okay, so you can't say that I'll be a jack of all trades.
That's it. That's the problem in many places today.
Okay,
I hope you understand.
So what gives money is specialization. That is the only point I want to drive.
Sure, sure, 100%.
So more than narrow down of your focus in one subject, you will be able to actually do a lot of things, and people will come in search of you. That is what I would want to tell.
Great, Amrit. Thank you so much for your presence over online live with us, and we will look forward to get your support in our future as well.
Sure, Lenin. My pleasure. Thanks for the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Amrit.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thanks for watching live, and we will be having a different personality in the coming week as well. Thank you so much.